Okay, my name is Chef Idro, and I am a chef, owner and founder of Idros Street Foods, your famous street food outlet, the best one in the city, Kampala, 256, number one. So basically, my story is all about street foods. In Africa, we eat street foods, and street foods is like one of those things that we live by every single day. Everyone in Africa eats a street food. You walk by the street foods, and African street foods for very many years have been ignored and have been like undermined in a way. But I am here to rewrite that story, to make it better. And that's what Idris Street Food is all about.
Why did you choose street foods? Apart from, there are so many other things you could have done. You could have done maybe continental dishes. Why street food?
Street food because I was challenged to make a difference on the continent, and basically street foods is if you are going foods, you need to think about the everyday person, and you need to think about everyone on the continent, regardless of their class, eats street foods.
So, when did you learn cooking? Did you go to chef school? Did you learn on the street? Why did you go to school to learn cooking food?
Well, I'm a chef by passion, and I basically taught myself how to cook, and because I worked in a couple of restaurants in my days in Cape Town, in South Africa. So I worked in a couple of restaurants and then got the basics of basically cooking, and then from there onwards I taught myself. A lot of the things that I do is self-taught.
Self-taught.
Yes.
So, if you had to find yourself, let's say, 15, 20 years ago, and you had to speak to yourself and to advise yourself, what would you tell the young Idros?
I'll tell the young Idris basically to be patient, to be patient. Patience is key. I think patience is one of the biggest ingredients of success. If you really want to be successful, you need to learn how to be patient. So I will always tell the young Idris to be patient.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much it. There are a lot of other things, but for me, patience is the one that stands out. Yes.
And what are some of the challenges you're facing as a chef, as a person doing street foods in the African market? What are some of those challenges you're getting as a business owner, somebody trying to do something like that?
There are very many challenges, just like any other dreamer on the continent. I said to my friends that it's time for us Africans to dream. It's time for us to do big things. But we have a lot of challenges on the continent, of course. Access to finance, especially when you are doing a business such as mine, which is cash intensive, and you don't have access to the finance to get you going. So that becomes a problem. We don't have venture capitalists. It's a big problem. I mean, if you look at some of those developed economies, one of the reasons why they actually thrive and grow at a faster rate is because they have the support system in the first world, in the developed economies, is better than the support system that we have here. So, for instance, the venture capital problem. Very many young people have brilliant ideas, but because people cannot invest in their ideas, people, instead of investing in their ideas, would like to borrow. I say borrow, I don't want to use the word steal, but they'll borrow their ideas and take them away from them and not even invest in their ideas. So access to finance, access to venture capitalists, a huge problem.
What is the big dream here with Idros Street Food? What is the dream?
The big dream is we are creating Africa's we're creating Africa's first real indigenous food outlet, fast food, street food franchise or food outlet. And yeah, this is how our story starts. Our story starts here in Uganda, and this is how but our dream is the Afro dream. That's why I'm called the Afro dancing chef, because we're not looking at Uganda only as a market. We're looking at a broader African Afro market.
Does it mean we shall have different restaurants that do cook different indigenous African street foods? Because in Uganda, today Rolex is a street food.
Yes.
Nyama choma muchomo.
Yes.
On a stick is something we've had indigenously.
Yes.
And then in Kenya, it's matumbo and maybe some other thing. And then in Malawi, Zambia, South Africa, they're all different street foods.
Yes.
Are you going to have different street foods for each African market, or we are carrying one food to the rest of the market, just like the Middle Easterns have done with shawarma?
I think all Africans eat the same street foods. For me, I've traveled around the continent. I'm very passionate about the continent, and I've seen that the our food is it's very much the same. The only difference is how we cook. For instance, you'll find that West Africans are people who are very, who love hot stuff, and then you find that East Africans are people who love just boiled stuff. Mostly, they really. I'm not so. When you go to Kenya, you'll find that Kenyans will do the goat without almost using spices. In Uganda, you'll find that most of our foods are boil. And then when you go to Southern Africa, the spices are experimental. So it's the same type of food, but when you go to the locations, I lived in South Africa for many years. When you go to downtown Soweto, when you go to downtown, when you go to some of the locations in Cape Town, in Kailicha, in Guguletu, you find that people eat the matumbo that you mentioned about in Kenya, and you find that in many other parts, even in DRC, people eat matumbo. In Nigeria, people eat matumbo. So for me, it's all about street food, and I think street foods are the same because you'll go to Congo and find somebody selling cornmeal, maize on the street. Yeah. So that's street food. So it's the same. So I plan to just have a same platform of street foods, but gourmet street foods. We'll amplify it a little bit, make it better to suit everyone's taste buds, and then we have it up there.
Okay, so for anybody who wants to venture into the food business, start making money off food or become a chef, what are some of those words you would tell them, some of the tips for anybody who wants to venture into your niche, your profession, or the kind of business you're doing?
All I can tell them is first, have a dream, and second, don't be a jack of all trades. Food is broad. There's so many things that you can do in food. Choose a niche and stick to it no matter what, and you'll be there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
How do we follow you on social media? Do you have social media platforms?
Yes, on Instagram, the Afro dancing chef Idros.
Okay.
Number one. Number one. So it's 01.
Okay.
And then on TikTok, it's the Afro dancing chef. Again, number one. The Afro dancing chef, number one. And then on Facebook, so of course, Chef Idros, Taban, my real names. I haven't really created a personal account as yet. Then on Snapchat, I've got Chef Idros.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.